Good morning everyone and welcome to my other video of today. Basically, if you've missed it, I've also uploaded a video on the U-Panzer, which is directly tied into this one, because this one is about the phase 1. Now, from this month's Battle Pass onwards, basically, if you have stuff of the Battle Pass things that you earn with the missions left over by the end of the month, you can buy crates with them. And in those crates there's tank parts and lots of other stuff, but there's also this tank. Now, I don't want to get your hopes up, I'll say it straight away. The drop chance of this tank in those crates is 1 in 9,995. That is how small the chances of you actually getting this tank in those crates. So keep that in mind. Crates suck, and this is no different, even though you basically earn them with battle pass thingies. And I think that if you actually have the battle pass and you get the extra missions, you can potentially get all the 4 crates that you can earn per month for free. If you do not have the battle pass, I think that you might be able to get 1 crate, but I'm not even entirely certain about that. Basically, you need a lot of the battle pass thingies, and that basically means doing your missions every single day completely, and that includes the 2 missions that you probably don't want to do. That includes the raiding missions that you probably don't want to do either. Basically, you'd have to do everything. But on the very small chance of 1 in 9,995 that you actually do get this tank, this is basically what you get. It is an American tier 9 heavium, and it's basically the type is heavy, but it pays like a heavium. This tank reminds me a lot of the E5 when it still had its cupola, and that was basically when I loved the E5. And that's basically the same thing with this tank. I really adore it. It just fits my playstyle really well. I love heaviums, they're my favorite kind of tank to drive. And you're not like infallible, you're not invincible. People can shoot you, you can die. And basically I had a lot of games where I was like doing okay, but nothing too epic. And that's mainly why I wasn't sure which games to show you guys. But it's such a lovely tank, for me at least, because it just fits me in every possible way. And that's also what really sucks about this tank, because it is a great tank, and the thing is that it will be so hard to get, because as far as we know at least, it's only ever going to be in these crates, and that's going to make buying the battle pass more valuable to people that do. And of course the battle passes are great value and everything, but to have such a low drop chance, I mean, with the new tanks and the crates that they're in and everything, the chances are a lot higher to get the tank than they are in this one, because the drop rate in percentage is like 0.05%. That is how small it is, and that's something to definitely keep in mind. So I don't want to get anyone's hopes up when it comes to actually getting this tank. I did want to review it though, and as I said, I do really love it, and I kind of hate myself for it. At the same time, I want to be honest with you guys about what I think about this tank. But yeah, trying to get this tank is going to be hard, and I'm at least glad that it's a tier 9 and not a tier 10 tank, because that would be absolutely awful. Now, DPM on this tank without equipment and all of it is 2304, penetration is 250, the alpha is 400, rate of fire is 5.76, the reload is 10.42, the caliber is 120, and the shell velocity is 1067. The aim time is 2.35, the dispersion is 0.353, the move rotate turret for the dispersion is 0.2 or 0.12 when it comes to the turret. The depression is 10 degrees, the elevation is 20 degrees, and the aiming arc is 180. The speed that it does is 40 kilometers per hour, 20 kilometers per hour backwards. The engine power is 935. The power to weight ratio is 16.62. Blah blah blah. All of those stats basically. It's a mobile tank. It's a heavium. For a heavy, it's very mobile. That means that it will not have like the super duper armor that some tanks may have. Basically the turret armor is 180 in the front and 70 on the side and 60 to the back. The hull armor is 190 on the front, 65 on the side and 40 at the back. Like I said, it is a heavium, and that means that basically the role of this tank can be whatever it needed to be. Like in this game, I'm being more of a medium than I am being heavy. I'm being a little bit flanky. I'm basically holding and sneak peeking and ridgelining and everything. And that's basically what makes me love Heavium so much, because I like how diverse the role is that they can play. And for me, that makes the tank worthwhile. If you are a regular heavy driver, then you might struggle in this tank, because it doesn't have that typical heavy armor. It also doesn't have the typical medium mobility. It doesn't work like that. It's a Heavium. And if you liked the old E5, like I mean the E5 when it still had the cupola and everything, before it was made more into a regular heavy that it is now, you will also love this tank. And the E5, yes, it can still be Heavium-ish, but right now, especially without the cupola and everything, it tends to take a more heavy role. And this tank is more of that Heavium kind again. Like, you will have the armor to be a heavy if you really need to, especially if you're top tier. But with the mobility that it has, I feel that it's better in a supporting role, like either a reluctant heavy or a reluctant med, or a forwards heavy, that kind of stuff. Because you have the mobility to get around, you have the mobility to do stuff. This shot is actually going between the turret and the tank. That was like, wow. Okay, but yeah, basically, as a Heavium, I feel that the tank is more versatile than a normal heavy would be. It's also more versatile than a general meaty would be, and that is why I like the tank type so much. Same reason I like the IS-8. I liked, as in past time, the old E5, and there's more tanks like it. Like when it comes to the mediums, the Spaghetti is like not the most mobile of medium tanks, and the STB again, like, it's not a mobile medium. All of those tanks for me are in the sort of like Heavium range, and they're all my favorite tanks because of that. Because I like the fact that it's versatile. I like the fact that you can do a lot of different things in it, and that you're not dependent on the certain type that you have in the game. So basically, a very long story short, that is why I'm a fan of this tank, because it has that same kind of raw potential here. And I'm actually looking at the beach because I expected him to come on over this way so I could shoot him, but he doesn't. So then I just decide to go instead and see if I can find him. Like you've seen, both these games I'm doing fairly well. I'm also not getting shot at all that much. Again, you're not invincible in this tank. It doesn't work like that. Not at all. It is a Heavium, as said. That also means that it's got less armor than a typical heavy, and that also means that you can get penned more. At the same time, if you play this tank a little bit carefully, you can do beautifully in it. That being said, the chances of getting this tank remain 1 in 9,995, and that is something to keep in mind as well, because crates really do suck. But you can earn these crates at the end of every battle pass from now on. Basically, you can get 4 per month at max, and you can get them with X amount of battle pass currency. So good luck to those that are going to try for it. I'm sorry these come like this, because I would want everyone to be able to get this tank. But this is Wargame's decision, and it is what it is. Goodbye!